A capitalist system that is pauperizing our country and increasing poverty at a very dangerous level. Now, Comrade has started by referring to Section 16. In fact, a subsection there says, the economic system, the state shall ensure that the economic system is not operated in such a way as to concentrate the wealth of the country in the hands of a few or a group. Now, when Dangote was said to be building a refinery, and I've said it publicly, the government of Nigeria gave him land free. They call it free economic zone for themselves. All the machinery imported, free, at official rate, which is illegal. No duty was paid for the entire machinery, duty waivers. And the government went to the bank to take a loan of $2.7 billion to invest in the private sector. And they then said, we cannot fix our refineries. At that stage, we challenged them. You said government have no business in business. Why are you funding a private enterprise? It was at that stage that they allocated $1.5 billion to fix Port Harcourt refinery, $1.4 billion to fix Kaduna and Warri refinery. Current President of Nigerian Labour Congress, please, I beg you, second assignment, you must get the relevant unions to monitor the ongoing rehabilitation of the refinery. Otherwise, these guys would divert the money criminally, as they have always done for the past 35 years. Secondly, those refineries are no longer enough for us. Refineries are being sold in Europe and America. The government must buy some of them and assemble them here so that we can earn money, revenue from our own natural resource. Comrade has spoken about solid minerals. Labor must also take cognizance of what is going on. They give licenses to individuals to go and mine and pay a pittance to the government. Sometimes you don't pay anything. I'm running a case where the government said, don't pay for 5 years. We want to encourage you from one block where they're mining gold in Elisha. And the company will make $500 million in 1 year. No tax. But the poor are asked to tighten their belt even when they are dying. Now, the second point, we may be gathered here discussing democracy. Democracy is under threat in Africa. Very serious. I'm sure you know what happened yesterday. You know what happened last month. And it's going to continue. Oh yes, there's no apology about it. I can predict with mathematical exactitude the next country, very close to us, that will experience a coup very soon. Where a man currently suffering from dementia, who has been in power since 1982, what did he do yesterday because of what happened in Ghana? Let me change the commander of the army. You are deceiving yourself. There was a coup. Attempted coup in 2019 in Gabon. The guy survived, but you know what has happened? Yesterday, he also suffers from stroke and dementia. He didn't know where he was. He said, I don't know where I am. But please help me. That is what they have reduced Africa to. You needed to have seen that guy when there was very insulting this their meeting, going to Europe to meet about Africa. Franco-Afro summit. The guy couldn't walk. And none of his colleagues in the club of African dictators, African Union, none of them will say, gentlemen, why don't you resign and let a functional person take over the affairs of your country? This guy had stroke since 2009. With the wealth of that country, he couldn't establish a hospital. He was in Britain for years and then went to Morocco. Just like Mobutu Sese Seko, 35 years in power, no hospital. Eyadema was being flown to Israel after 32 years in office. He couldn't fix a hospital like this. This gang of looters here. And that is what they have made of Africa. So please, I think Seun was talking about some comparison. Seun, up to 3 years ago, all the member states of ECOWAS were under one form of civil rule or another. Don't call them democratically elected government. Civil rule. 3 years ago. But what has happened? We have recorded 4. The number is ongoing. Chad. Now Gabon. They are all close to us. But what's the link between Nigeria and Chad and Gabon? How many Nigerians are there? If you must know. Many Nigerians are trading in Gabon. We have a lot of relationship. That country is one of the richest in Africa. It's the 5th largest producer of oil. The population is 2.3 million. Everybody should be living like a king. But the poverty rate is 33%. In that country, small country, the Bongos took over the country with their friends, buying riches, houses all over the world, including France particularly. Nigeria has a GDP of 4,900 now as of 2020. While Gabon, the per capita is $14,000. But while poverty rate, while 40.1% of Nigeria live below poverty level, in Gabon is 33%. That's why you had the coup. And like I said, Senegal is the only country that has not experienced a coup in West Africa. But if care is not taken, that country will go under soon because you are the man. Macky Sall, who said he wanted a 3rd term. And people said, no. We chased out President Abdullah Wade, and you took advantage. Now you want a 3rd term. The people of Senegal have defeated him on the street. You know what he's doing now? He wants to plant his own agent. So the main opposition leader, he got him on a Trump charge of rape. He's in jail. So that country is in trouble. None of these guys, including those who are planning to invade Niger, none of them will say preventive diplomacy. Can we talk to these our colleagues to allow democracy in this country? One of them came here 2 weeks ago, and I was just laughing, from Central African Republic, to pledge the loyalty of ECOWAS. The Central African Republic, to say we are with you in invading Niger. We want democracy. In his country, the guy had just removed judges who told him it is illegal to have a 3rd term. Central African Republic, the country of Bokassa. Now, he removed the judges who gave that ruling and manipulated his way for a 3rd term. The guy in Côte d'Ivoire saying, Nigeria, please let us invade. Alassane Ouattara. You know how he emerged? That the whole of Africa, the entire people of that country, over 3,000 people were killed for him to emerge. Now he's currently having his own 3rd term. And none of these guys condemn him. Twice now, ECOWAS has attempted to fix a term, 2 terms for presidents. In 2015, it was defeated by Togo and the Gambia. In 2022, last year, it was defeated by Togo, Senegal, and Côte d'Ivoire. Now, the guy in Togo also expects something soon. In Togo, he and his father have been in power since 1963. Just like this guy who has just been removed, he and his father have been in power for 56 years. Even if you are a traditional ruler, there are people who are waiting for you now. For you, one ruling house, we call them ruling houses. One ruling house can never be allowed to spend 56 years in the African traditional, political system. So why are these guys pretending that we are running a democracy? And for here, please, Honorable Senator, please be careful. Disciplined Senator, be careful. Don't provoke Nigerians to mutiny. Please. Because some of the things going on there, we're in trouble. Sir, 70 billion naira for palliatives for 469 people. And when we say no, they say no. It's for facelift of the National Assembly. No, sir. 3 years ago, 37 billion naira was the amount for facelift of the National Assembly. That contract has not been fully executed. There is no review of the contract. So you can't talk of 70 billion naira for facelift. Secondly, 40 billion naira to buy exotic cars now for leadership of the National Assembly. It's not going to be allowed. The latest provocative news from the National Assembly is that 54 billion naira has been earmarked for constituency projects for 360 members of the House of Reps. It has come to 150 million per person. Under these austere conditions in town. So when these figures are oozing out of the National Assembly, Nigerians have been provoked. And enemies of democracy have been provoked. The military has been honest to say we are under pressure. You didn't read it. To dismantle this rickety political system. But somebody told them, go and deny it. And they denied. Oh, we are not under pressure. But we can read between the lines. And that is why we can't gather here talking of democracy that is under threat. That's number 2. Number 3, comrade lecturer, I agree with you. There are solutions to all these problems. So the immediate causes of coups in Africa today: third-hand syndrome, manipulation of constitution, military bases. You know, today, America has 29 military bases in Africa. France has 15. Soldiers are protesting because these foreign members of these foreign bases are receiving salaries as if they are in their country. And they are living above the ordinary soldiers in Africa. So the soldiers are also protesting the differential treatment between them and these foreign troops. So we must look at that. And of course, they have told you the remote causes. The remote causes are the ruthless exploitation of the mineral resources of our country by Western companies. Lately, Chinese companies have joined them. They loot the treasury. Just like Comrade has said, $9 billion worth of gold smuggled out of Nigeria yearly. Not by the poor, but by the rich, with private jets and helicopters. And so, what do you expect? The people are getting poorer. And they're also destroying the land where they mine resources, just like oil. Sir, the oil thieves are known. You can quote me, and I want to be sued by it. Shell is one of them, is the leading oil thief in Nigeria. Tompolo discovered recently, when the state has collapsed. You deal with non-state actors. The military could not trace oil thieves. So they had to give a contract to a private citizen, government Tompolo. It's the government in the area now. He discovered that an oil block, a pipeline, stealing 40,000 barrels of crude oil per day for 9 years, belongs to Shell. And Shell came out to say, we are not aware. No. Under the law, that is criminal negligence. But I also know that in the office of Shell, they have an application where they monitor what goes on in all their pipelines. And I suggested to the government, the Buhari government, with this discovery, can you please allow me, without charging Nigeria, to collaborate with some consortium of lawyers abroad for us to sue Shell for that act? Because to cheat an individual, you get a certain money. But to cheat a sovereign nation is 100%. So, and I told them, Nigeria can make $100 billion if you sue Shell for mining and stealing oil for 9 years. You know what I was told? Said, it will be difficult because some of our people are involved. I said, Let Shell come and say that in court. That we have other criminals, we are not alone. But what is important for us, and I think that is the point the comrade has made, we must revisit this matter. Because the NSA, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu has just disclosed to us, that 400,000 barrels are stolen daily. That cannot happen in a state, in a modern state that functions. When a state cannot guarantee peace, law and order, it's not fit to be a state. Now, the other point, sir, fact distribution. Please, comrade, I beg you. You must take note of this. In April this year, about 646 billion was shared by the three tiers of government. In July and August, over 900 billion naira. Over 900 billion. Yet, what have these people thrown at us? 5 billion per state. 5 billion per state. A state like Kano or Lagos. And 5 billion for Ekiti State or Zamfara State. The money is not meant for the poor. It's meant for the governors. And that is why it has been given to them to manage. So we must ask questions. 5 billion from what? If you are now taking over 300 billion naira per month as a result of the increase in the prices of fuel. The other one, I thought Comrade was going to, yes, I think you touched it, the dollarization of the economy. Today, somebody asked me, a bourgeois economist yesterday, Mr. Falana, you're a lawyer, why are you talking of dollarization? Dollarization is when a state adopts the dollar as a legal tender. I said, are you okay? In Nigeria today, the central bank has allowed the rich to sell properties in highbrow areas in dollars, to collect rents in dollars, school fees of some schools in dollars, charges for services by government in dollars, lawyers and some professionals charge fees now in dollars. Talking of big boys, oh, it's dollars. In the ongoing election petition trial, you don't take naira. How much is that? Now, to bribe in Abuja now, you know it's in dollars. Because you can't carry naira. You know, you can't go through the bank. So it's easier to transact that criminality through the dollars. You're not aware. At the National Assembly, distinguished senator who agree with me. It's in dollars now. No, you know why I know? Some people are charged for being in possession of dollars. They call it money laundering. So they come to us, so I know what I'm talking about. And you know that what do you call it? The PDP and APC conventions in Abuja here, delegates were paid in dollars. Because you can't be carrying big money, naira, for them. The most dangerous aspect now is that tithes are paid in some churches in dollars. Oh yes. And then some musicians have prayed in dollars. It happened in the villa recently when the daughter of the former president was getting married. Musicians were sprayed in dollars. So dollars has become the legal official tender. Legal tender in Nigeria. Whereas Section 20 of the CBN Act has criminalized the act of spending dollars in Nigeria. But nobody has been arrested for spending dollars in our country. In fact, some government agencies now charge dollars for services and goods. But how do we get to this mess? Because the rich wants to destroy our currency. The currency of a country is like your flag. You can go to war. But for them, the naira is no longer worth it. Because the IMF and World Bank discovered that Nigerians will fight devaluation of the currency. So they then sold the idea to the people in the central bank. Can you dollarize the economy so that devaluation will be true dollarization? So last week, you wanted to buy any particular good, and you have your money. I think it was Fela that sang this song, during South. And you plan your plan. He said you plan your plan finish. You want to go to market. By the time you had the budget, but by the time you get to the market, the thing has gone up. And that is what is going on. So all of us do not know that through the dollarization, goods and services are being increased quietly in Nigeria. You know, they deceived us 2 weeks ago. When the thing went to 950, oh, we're going to do something. So the central bank illegally took a loan of $3 billion and said, please, we want to show up the currency. What is the business of a private company? The NNPC is no longer a parastatal. It's now NNPC Limited. And they deceived us. Oh, the thing will stabilize now. So for 1 week, it went to 780. Today, it's 780 officially. Meanwhile, they said, no other exchange rate now, apart from one. Today, black market, as of this morning, is 980 naira to $1. Yet, when you were teaching us, your generation of teachers, it was 60 kobo to $1. So we must begin to ask questions. Labor, it's no longer enough, sir, to go and ask for minimum wage. Even if they pay you 200,000 naira as minimum wage, it's meaningless now. And that is why we must ask questions about the dollarization of the economy. The only solution, only one country accept. 5 years ago, the Central Bank of China and Nigeria sat down. Can we have currency swap? Whatever you buy there, naira. Whatever we do here, yuan. The Central Bank, quote me, I've said it publicly. IMF and World Bank said, no, don't allow it to work. So most Nigerians are not aware of that arrangement. Last year alone, we spent $22 billion for imports from China. In dollars, whereas we should have paid naira. And that would have reduced the exchange rate to something in the neighborhood of 300 to 500 naira. And we're supposed to do that with other countries. And that's what BRICS is about, coming. BRICS. The BRICS, I'm sure you know the organization. They simply want to trade among themselves in their own national currencies. Nigeria said we have not joined, we don't want to join because of the West. But I've told somebody in government, can you be more Catholic than the Pope? Saudi Arabia is in. Egypt is in. UAE is in. But Nigeria is still pretending. How can Nigeria be missing in Africa? Why you should be leading the campaign to get African countries to trade in their own currency. We have African Free Trade Zone. We're supposed to have one currency in Africa, trade among ourselves. We're supposed to have ECO in ECOWAS. France says no. When countries like Nigeria insisted, France said no problem, we are now taking over the ECO. France has taken over ECO because they control its countries here. Now, what do we now do? Is to say we have taken over ECO. So whether we like it or not, we are going to impose our condition, which is that the ECO currency will be printed in France. And all your foreign research will be banked by the Bank of France. Of course, Nigeria will not agree. So they cannot have one currency. So the dollar is the currency for everybody. Now, the other point. Please, for NSC, I want to beg you. It's no longer enough to ask for better minimum wage. Comrade has mentioned this, and I'm going to advise you. There are laws you have fought for to improve the conditions of workers and the poor in Nigeria. And laws have been passed, comrade, following Chapter 2 of the Constitution. It's no longer correct to say Chapter 2 is not justiciable. Laws have been passed to actualize Chapter 2. The National Minimum Wage is one of them. National Minimum Wage Act. People's Banks Act. To give loans to the poor without collateral. They themselves took loans. And they were going to collapse the economy. That was how AMCON was set up. The rich are owing the country 5.4 trillion today. 370 of them. So when they didn't allow People's Bank to come to be re-established. I went to court. I got a judgment in 2012. Go and establish this bank for the poor. They refused to do it. We have the Child Rights Act in Abuja and Child Rights Law in the state. Under those two laws, every Nigerian child shall be educated up to junior primary school, free of charge by the Nigerian state. So, comrades, we have to make sure that every Nigerian child, 20 million Nigerian children are on the street. That is where the terrorists recruit, bandits recruit, armed robbers and the rest of them. So if we get these laws implemented, there will be little or nothing to steal by these guys. But these are the laws they have made. You have the Pension Reforms Act. It must work. National Housing Act. They deduct money of workers every month. But they have stolen about 100 billion from that fund. Comrade, we need to take this up. You have the National Health Insurance Act, that everybody should have insurance, health insurance. You have National Health Insurance Authority Act for the elderly in Nigeria. Once you are over 60, you are entitled to health insurance. By law, you have other laws, discrimination against persons with disabilities, 2018. That law provides that all physically challenged people shall be educated by the state from primary to secondary school, senior secondary school, free of charge. So, comrade, you must set up a committee that will ensure the implementation of this law, so that when you are talking of minimum wage, there are ways of ensuring that you don't spend all your minimum wage on services for your family that will not be sufficient. They now say that our last two people, our take-home cannot take us home. It's only when we have these laws implemented that your take-home will be able to take you home. The last point is on public interest litigation. We're engaged in a number of public interest litigations, but you are dealing with a government, a ruling class that has no regard for rule of law. Sarah, an NGO, has got a judgment to the fact that since 1999, all the governments must account for the $5 billion recovered from Abacha and the family. The government has ignored the law. Sarah has got a judgment that those funny pension for governors, the Attorney General should ensure that all those governors do not collect double pension. There are people in the National Assembly, sir, in the Senate, former governors, who are collecting the stupendous allowances in the National Assembly, who are also collecting pension in their states. 3 states, Lagos, Rivers, and Akwa Ibom, have pension schemes that you cannot find anything like it in any part of the world. Do you know the details? If you govern in Lagos, Port Harcourt, or you even for 4 years, you are entitled to a house in the state capital and a house in Abuja. What about 2 billion naira? 2 for your life, even if you are 40 or 36. For life, you and your family will be entitled to free medical treatment at home and abroad. For life, you will earn the salary of a sitting governor. For life, they will replace your cars, about 3 cars, once in 3 years. For life, you will have about 8 security personnel to guide you and your family. Now, I have told the governor, if you go like this, by the time Lagos has produced 20 governors, or Akwa Ibom, there will be no money for development. Once you are paid the pension of 20 former governors. And that is why Labour must please join this campaign. From the action of the civil society groups, the progressive faction, Samfara, Imo, and Kwara have abolished the pension scheme. So we must get other state government to abolish the pension scheme so that everybody is under the Pension Reforms Act. There's no way you run a state for 3 years and then for a year And before you collect about 300 million naira, you know. And then in the National Assembly, you collect money. Or if you're a minister, you collect money. Whereas it is dangerous for a worker to collect double salary. But these guys are collecting multiple salaries. Let me end by saying some comment. And I think we must take a resolution today. Here, that the Labour Party, there is a pending order of court, and I should disclose this. It's a pending order of court that the faction of the NFC and the faction of the PDP that attempted to take over the Labour Party shall hold a joint convention where leaders will be elected. I'm not talking of Abure and Abamba. And that must happen as soon as possible, so that Nigerian workers can take over their own affairs, to contest for power. But I'm not saying contest for power like the bourgeoisie. It must be along some of the things we have said, so that this country, the largest concentration of black people on earth, will not remain the largest poverty nation on earth. And comrade, you have the right, you have the duty to do this. You cannot allow these guys to ruin the country. NNPC has said, sir, gave us 3 billion. Again, I've just sent a letter to the government. NSC has cornered, NNPCL has cornered $33.5 billion from LNG in the last 20 years. That money must go to Federation account. On London Paris Club reform, comrade, I'll make some information available. All the state governors, apart from Delta, stole the London Paris Club for local governments. I know one state, a poor state, where the governor cornered 2.4 billion belonging to state government. Algon is fighting this currently, Mr. President. We must join. Have that money refunded so that we can see some benefits in the local government. So I would like to thank you for this opportunity to come here and to wish the Nigerian Labour Congress fruitful deliberation.
Thank you, Mr. Falana. He has